Hey everyone, it's Matt Williams, Mr. MPW. Welcome to today's video. So today we are going to be going on the Cat 1, so the very first rating trip, if you like, within PilotEdge on the PilotEdge platform inside X-Plane 11. Fairly simple flight, to be honest. It is from a non-towered airport to a non-towered airport through effectively Class E airspace, which in America there's not really any requirements for in terms of radio communications. So, we just need to monitor guard on 1215. The flight's going to be taking us from Oceana County L52 to a place called Winner, Whiskey Yankee November Romeo, as you can see on the screen now, and then to New Siama L88. So, like I say, fairly straightforward, but it does get you into using the system. It gets you into being used to manipulate the radios, transmitting on the radios, and actually do some navigation and some checks. So, without further ado, let's dive in and take a look.
I'm Matt Williams, Mr. MPW. Join us as we take to the skies in various flight simulators using different plugins, different technology, different things to learn how to fly safely and efficiently.
Okay, so for the PilotEdge Cat 1 rating then, this is a bit of a nuance of this rating because we're going from a non-towered airport to a non-towered airport. We're not going to have to talk to any of the controllers. So it's one of those where normally when you're doing your cat ratings, you'll be talking to a controller at some point during that journey, normally at the end, if not at any other point, and they will tell you whether you passed or failed. They'll file that on their system and it'll show up as a certificate in your profile. For this one, we need to do that ourselves because we aren't probably going to talk to a controller at all unless something goes wrong. So you need to log into your profile on PilotEdge on the website, go to file a flight plan. I'm not going to walk you through necessarily how to file this and exactly what's in there, but I'll tell you what I'm going to put in for the Cat 1 rating. So type VFR, not IFR, so we're going visual flight rules in this. November 714 Golf Zulu is our call sign. We are a Cessna 172. And we are a slant alpha. So again, these you'll have to go and look through the transponder codes if you want to know more about those. Sorry, the transponder codes, the slant codes for the flight plans. If you want me to do a video on that, let me know down in the comments below, and I will get that done for you. But yeah, these mean various different things. For us, we're a slant A. DME is equipped in the aircraft. We have a transponder that does mode Charlie and non-reduced vertical separation minima equipped aircraft. True airspeed we'll be doing 120 we're going to set in there. The departure airfield L52 for Oceano, arriving at L88. Cruising altitude will go 7,500 feet. Just from the planning and because we know the terrain, and the alternate. So this is where we're going to go if there's a problem on the runway, for example, at L88, or the weather's too bad or something like that, and we can't physically get in there. L17, Taft Kern County, which is about 15 miles to the northeast of L88, so kind of a 10-minute flight away from where we're looking to go. Route of the flight, we're going via Winner, Whiskey Yankee November Romeo. Again, I'll do a video on flight plans specifically. If people are keen for that, just let me know down below and I'll do it. But we don't put the departure airfield, we don't put the arrival, we don't put the alternate. We just put the points that we are going to fly to roughly, or the lat longs if there's no actual facility there or marked navigation point. So we're going to from L52 to Winner, from Winner to L88, and then L17 is our alternate. And that is it, guys. There's no remarks that we need to put in here, particularly because we're not going IFR, and we'll look at those later on if we're flying under instrument flight rules in an aircraft like this, where we can't fly above the 0-degree isotherm, for example. That is something that I would put into the remarks. No flight in icing conditions, because we don't have de-ice or anti-ice on the aircraft, for example. Anyway, more on that as we go. So click File Flight Plan. That will tell us that it's been successful and that the flight plan has been filed. There we go. It's shown us at the top. Connect to the network using the call sign November 714 Golf Zulu so that it accredits it to you. So let's dive in and get some flying done. Hey everyone, so you joined me at L52 Oceano County, about to go off on the Cat 1 rating. So we've set Oceano County's CTAF frequency, the Common Terminal Advisory frequency, on the main radio on COM 1. I've got guard already in standby, ready for the transit as we go. There are other people that if I was doing this in the real world, I would probably listen to, probably get VFR flight following. That isn't part of this Cat 1 rating. We build ourselves up to that. It's done this this way for a reason. So out of here, the course 72, so 072 is the heading that we'll be turning to out of this. A left turn about 90 degrees as we depart the circuit, en route to Winner, and I've got all of that planned out already. I will drop a link to the planning sheet that I've done for this down in the video description if you want to grab that. So without further ado, let's get rolling. So parking brakes coming off, taxiing forwards, checking the brakes, they are working. As always, I've got the triple screen set up here, so I can see out to the sides. I'm not necessarily going to swing around and look at all that. The wind is pretty much calm at the moment, so I'm not going to worry too much about which runway we take off from, but let's taxi on out runway 11 at Oceano County L52 and get ready for departure. So on the way there, I'll just get the takeoff brief out of the way. So, well, if in the event of any emergency, if I need to and I'm able to in this room and it's safe and suitable to do so, I'll get the aircraft down on the ground. We'll deal with the emergency on the ground. After that, when there's not enough runway ahead of us, up until 700 feet, I'll be choosing somewhere ahead to land on and deal with the emergency on the ground. After that, above 700 feet, I'll be looking for a turn back, and in this case I'll do a left hand turn back to try and make the airfield. Of course, if I can deal with the emergency whilst remaining airborne safely, then I'll do so and go for a left hand pattern to bring us back around, deal with the emergencies as we see fit. So we are here now, the nose gear is straight, flying controls I'll check are all full and free, and they seem to be working fine, which is good. The fuel selector is set to on and set to both. I'm going to bring the power up to 1700. So these are just our pre-takeoff checks, make sure the aircraft's all working fine before we go. We have got random failures enabled on this aircraft, which could be embarrassing, but potentially as we go. Checking that left mag, slight drop in the RPM, back to both and the RPM restores, onto the right mag, slight drop on the RPM, back to both and it restores. No carb heat on this aircraft, so throttle to idle, checking for a minimum of 500, which we have idling there about 600, which is nice, and bringing the RPM back up to 1000. All the avionics are set as required. I'm going to bring the transponder on now to alt, squawking 1200, taxiing out. So before we taxi, I'm just going to check that there is no traffic around either side, and that is all looking good, no one on approach, and I'm going to let people know where we are. So this is the format generally that we try and use for the radio calls at a non-controlled airport. Oceano traffic, Cessna November 714 Golf Zulu, lining up runway 11 for a VFR departure to the east, climbing to 7,500 feet. There we go, so everyone knows that we are now going to line up on the runway. They know which direction we're going off on and that we're not staying in the pattern, more importantly. So I can see 11 on the numbers on the runway, which is what we're expecting. I'm going to check that my direction indicator down here agrees with that, which it does, and that cross checks with the compass at 11, which it does. No flaps required, everything else is good. Fuel pumps on, full power's coming in. A bit more right pedal needed, Matt. Okay, RPM is in the green, temperature pressures are all good. Weight of 55. There we go, 55, nose is up. We are airborne. Coming out about 74, temperature pressure all good. RPM's good in the climb, climbing away nicely. Good look out all around. Gear would come up now, we've got positive rate if we had it. Flaps are already up and indicating. And we are all good. So any problems at the moment, still below my 700 feet where I'd turn back. I'll be putting the aircraft down either left or right of the nose, probably here. A little bit of high ground ahead, so actually I'm thinking now, right, I'm going to turn over to the left as we come out of here. That's what I'm going to do. Get ourselves on that heading, and that's all looking good. And now we could make it back to the airfield, but again, plenty of good options over to the left hand side. So turning left, good look out all around, heading out on track to Winner Whiskey Yankee November Romeo. at 072 degrees. I'm just going to come slightly left just to get myself on my track line. So I'm going to run through a set of checks now, some pre-departure, or sorry, post-departure checks. So track 072, 072 I have on my bug, which I'm going to turn towards now. That cross-checks nicely with the compass, so that's all looking good. Altitude, climbing 7,500. Airspeed, well, 74, but I'm happy to cruise climb now. Time, I've got a clock running. I've got ForeFlight running on the iPad as well, which is good. I'll pop a few bits into the GPS shortly once we're in the cruise and we're nicely established. I'm going to get the fuel pump off because we don't need that now. Above 1,500 feet. Fuel, we have plenty. I'm going to wait until we're in the cruise. I'm going to keep her on both at the moment before I go over to a single tank. Instruments are all set as required. And radio, I'm going to get rid of Oceano traffic and carry on with God. Oceano traffic, Cessna November 714 Golf Zulu is now departing to the east VFR, passing 2,400 for 7,500. There we go, and over to God. 121.5, so we can maintain a listening watch on that. We can hear anything that's going on there as well, and that should keep us nice and safe. A couple of things we can do now. I can start to get ahead in terms of checks, thinking about where we're going to next. So I'm just going heads in a second. And for New Siyama, their CTAF frequency 122.9, so 122.9 I've now put in the standby window on that frequency there, so that's ready to go. Again, you know, a couple of minutes spare, a couple of seconds spare even. Get ahead of the aeroplane. Don't wait until, you know, something happens or a trigger event, for example. We know exactly where we're going to go now. So we've got about 15 minutes to run, or 12 minutes to run to Winner now at the ground speed that we are at. Obviously ground speed fairly low in the climb as it is at the moment. I'm going to pop Winner in a direct 2 on the GPS, and do you know what? On this one, I'm going to fast forward it for you guys, and you will join us at the turning point at Winner, so that you don't need to listen to everything that's going on, which to be honest is nothing on the radios anyway. So let's go. Okay, so you join us now, just approaching Winner. All the checks that we needed to get done before we got here are done now. So now we're going to look at what the turn's going to be. So track, we are expecting a track of 100 from here to the next waypoint. I've got the autopilot engaged as well, just to make this cruise a little bit simpler. So there we go, 100. Airspeed, expecting 120 true, which is about right for the 7,500 feet that we're at. Altimeter, we need to know what the pressure setting is over at New Siyama, so we will jump ahead and get the ATC from the nearest place on the way there, which is going to be the Taft Kern County, if we can get any information from them, but we'll try in a second. We are a little bit higher than we expected to be as well, 250 feet higher, so I'll address that shortly. Fuel wise, we are nicely in balance now. The fuel is over at both at the moment. I'll pop it over to the left side. There we go, that's over to the left. Pump still off. Instruments, cross-checking are all good. Temperatures and pressures are all good. So we are good now to rock and roll, and we've got about 26 nautical miles to run to L88. Again, no radio call required at the moment. We're listening on guard. We've got the next radio frequency set, so we are now good to go, and about another 30 minutes in the cruise. So again, I'll get that popped into the GPS, and I will see you as we get closer so that you can listen to the radios for the join at New Siyama. So we're now in the descent for New Siyama. We have been listening out on that frequency now, 122.9 for a couple of minutes, just to see if anything's going on. Not heard anybody here. So what I'm going to do is get myself set up to join left downwind for runway 28. So we're quite high at the moment, just going to start getting that height down, getting ourselves set up, getting a good look out into the circuit to make sure that there's nobody around at all that could affect us. And then as we get down towards circuit height, In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to push ourselves out a little bit here, and then I'm going to join us on the 45 for a left downwind for runway 28. So that means I'm going to join at 45 degrees at circuit height, there or thereabouts, and it gives you a very good, I think anyway, kind of representation, a good view of everything that's going on at the airfield there. So set ourselves up for 28 on the heading bug, get the fuel pump on. I'm going to set the mixture to fully rich, just getting ourselves set up. We have all of the radios set. I'm going to set the fuel back to both, and that's our pre-arrival checks pretty much complete now. And now we can concentrate on making sure that there's no traffic around, nothing that's going to affect us in here. Okay, that's all looking good. IDing the runway now. Siama traffic, Cessna November 714 Golf Zulu on the 45 to join left downwind from runway 28 New Siama. There we go, so I can now get a very good look out on the approach and at the airfield itself. Looks absolutely dead, which is good at the moment. Nice and quiet today. It's normally quite busy if you do end up coming and doing these cat ratings, because lots of people end up at the same places. Here we go, all the checks are complete. We've let them know we're now midfield downwind. Brakes are off, undercarriage will be down, mixture is fully rich. Fuel pump is on. Flaps are as required at the moment. Instruments are all set and cross-checked. Car beat's not required and my harness is secure. New Siama traffic, November 714 Golf Zulu, turn in left base runway 28, New Siama. So here we go, even though we know that they're the only people here, we're going to let everybody know what's going on. Get that first stage of flap in, bit of forward trim to get ourselves, keep ourselves nice and level. That's all looking nice at the moment. That's us now, got the numbers. Another stage of flaps coming in. Speed's nice and under control. Good check out on the approach to make sure it is all clear, which it is, and turning final. There we go. So looking nice. A little bit high maybe. New Siama traffic, November 714 Golf Zulu, final runway 28 New Siama. Stage of flap in. Now the exit for this runway is a long way down, so I am deliberately going to land long here just to save myself the huge taxi all the way to the end, because we have to wait for a couple of minutes on the ground on the Cat 1 to make sure that it registers that we have landed here. There we go, it's all looking nice, nicely on file now, and there we go, touchdown. That nose off ever so slightly. And now we're down. Waiting for that speed to just come back. Going to test the brakes. They're all working nicely. Leave the flaps down to give us that little bit of aero braking, just so that we don't have to cook the brakes on the taxi in here. And now on the brakes to just bring them under control. Speed under control. So here we are, welcome to New Siama. It's quite a cool place to come and do some circuits. Actually, it's quite a narrow runway, creates a few interesting illusions, I would say, when you are operating here. But yeah, that's it. So now all we need to do is taxi in. Again, it's a non-towered airport, so no one to really speak to. I'm just going to do my after landing checks now. I'm off the runway just so we didn't interfere with anybody else. So flaps are up, pump is off, the nav aids can go off, so I'm going to put the transponder back to standby. Strobes have gone off, and the rest of the lights can remain on for now. So taxiing forwards, and we'll go for a shutdown. And what I've found is on the on this rating here, by the time you've done your shutdown checks, that generally is long enough for it to register that you have landed here and completed the trip. So 1,000, brakes are on, turning everything off, all the avionics can go off as well. We do those individually in the aircraft obviously, but in here it's not as easy to do that. We've just got the beacon on, so that's all good. Peter, he can go off as well, always worth checking, and we are all good. So go to idle, I'm going to ground the mags, left mag, right mag, that's all good, back to 1,000 RPM, mixture all the way to lean. There we go, aircraft shut down, ignition off, and battery can go off. So there we go. That is the PilotEdge Cat 1, fairly straightforward. Pretty simple today because there was literally no other traffic apart from a couple of aircraft as we were leaving Oceano. Can get a little bit busier than that, but again, you're not going to talk to any controllers. Fairly straightforward. If you've got any questions, please drop them down in the comments below here, and happy to help. Like I say, I'll do my best to draw up the minimal directions that there are and put the frequencies into a kind of little table that you can download again from the video description. And yeah, get out there, enjoy it. Start to, hopefully you'll hear some other people on there as well. Next one we're going to look at is the Cat 2, where we do end up talking to people. But yeah, I will see you there. If you liked the video, found it useful, please give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a double thumbs down. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. I've been Matt Williams. Fly safe. Blue skies. Sorry guys, just a quick one before I do actually go. I got a little bit carried away having just finished in the flight there, and totally forgot. Because this isn't a controller-led, controller-controlled cat rating, is the only one, you will need to go and do something after you've landed. So when you've landed, wait that couple of minutes, disconnect from the PilotEdge platform after a couple of minutes. Then you need to go over to the Cat 1 claim form, and I'll drop that down in the description to the video. You click that, you fill in your details in there, and then as soon as you've done that, you should be granted the Cat 1. But yeah, that is something that you do need to do. I totally forgot it as I landed. Sorry, got excited by shutting down and a few of the videos done. But yeah, there we go. Hopefully useful, hopefully helps you all out. And like I said, I will see you in the next one. Fly safe. Blue skies.